Welcome back to the Gamers Hall. I'm Chris.
And I'm Adam.
And today we're going to be talking about Lucky.
Lucky Feats, huge change. Huge change.
Yeah, this version is definitely, I don't see it getting banned at the table.
No. And it also is showing that they're wanting to go more towards making inspirations more a part of the game and more important.
Yeah, and also this is just a lot more balanced.
Luck points, you have a number of luck points equal to your proficiency bonus, instead of just like 3 like the old one used to get. You regain them after you finish a long rest. Advantage immediately after you roll a d20 for a d20 test. You can spend 1 luck point to give yourself advantage on that roll. Not adding another die, and just advantage.
And not before.
Not before, after.
Because with inspiration you have to do before. With this you can do after. And plus, there isn't any of that cheaty BS where a player says, I'm going to close my eyes, roll at disadvantage on this attack, and then I'm going to use my luck point to roll the extra d20 and pick the highest of those 3.
I think it's very important to know that advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out. So if you had disadvantage on the roll beforehand, then if you would get advantage afterwards, it just means don't take the low roll. You only take that high roll you've already rolled.
Yes.
Because it just cancels that. It's not adding another dice. It's saying, no, cancel out that low roll. You don't get that low roll. So that's important, and that also takes a headache away from the DM. That's how that works.
Sorry for the confusion there. Disadvantage. When a creature rolls a d20 for an attack roll against you, you can spend a luck point to impose disadvantage on that roll.
Right. So, also important to know that if they've rolled 1 dice, they'll add another one to roll. But if they're already hitting you with advantage, you impose that on them. The disadvantage will now say, hey, instead of taking the higher of the 2 rolls, you will now take the lower of the 2 rolls.
Yeah, so you're not re-rolling any dice.
Yeah, no change of dice. It is just saying you're changing the specification of what the roll means, and what your choices will be, not adding more dice to roll to the table. It's just saying this is now a disadvantage, not advantage.
Actually, I think it works differently.
No, it changes. You impose disadvantage on that roll. It is not. You're not Xing anything out.
But if the creature had advantage, and
Turns
then you suddenly turn into disadvantage, would it...
It's the same it's flip-flop. It's the same thing. You now saying you have to take the low roll, not the high roll.
But this isn't saying you're taking away their advantage. You just impose disadvantage, so when they just roll normal?
No, it's now added. This roll is now at a disadvantage, not at advantage.
Because advantage and disadvantage, they don't stack. But if you have both of them at the same time, it just becomes normal. Because this isn't saying it takes away the advantage. It just says you impose disadvantage.
It's the same version of give yourself advantage or impose. It's just changing what it's saying. It's now, you're not doing this at advantage. You're doing this at disadvantage.
This is one of those things you have to do before the attack roll is made.
So basically what we're saying is the wording on this needs to change, because that's the intention of it. Is this is not going to be advantage like you want. This is going to be a disadvantage. And I'm rolling this at advantage, not disadvantage.
But I'm saying if a creature has advantage, it's not taking away this. Now, the advantage part where you spend a luck point and give yourself advantage on the roll, I don't know, even that, you give yourself advantage, so it's not turning it into advantage. So if you had disadvantage...
An advantage is roll 2 dice, take the higher roll.
Immediately after you roll...
It's specifying you take the higher roll of the 2 dice. If something's imposing, they're probably specifying now, instead of taking the higher roll, you would take the lower roll of the 2 dice. Or you would have to roll another dice to make it 2.
Yeah, but that could be even tricky, because if something has advantage to hit you, now you impose disadvantage on them, they have both. So now you just roll 1 die.
Unless the die has already been rolled, and they just say that no longer you do that. You just take the 1 roll.
When a creature rolls a d20 to attack you,
and that's before dice are rolled.
This is before dice are rolled.
Yeah,
the other one is after.
Well, these are all after.
No.
When a creature rolls a d20 for an attack roll, which means they already have to roll the d20, not before. When a creature would roll an attack roll against you, you spend 1 luck point. They have to roll first before you would impose it.
So then they'd have to roll a second die.
Then they have to roll a second die and take the lower. That is what it's doing. This is the lucky is after the fact, not before the fact. Something must happen before you get to use these abilities. And then it's changing the specification of what is being done. They're probably going to have to reword this some, but that is the intention of this, is to change after the fact because you're lucky.
I mean, I get that. It's just
not adding more probability.
This is the rules lawyer in me, because they would technically stack, which would make it normal.
But that is before the dice is rolled. Since this is being after, they're probably just changing what you look at it.
But if you rolled it already,
right,
and it's at advantage, and then this says, "Hey, I'm imposing disadvantage." It's not taking away the advantage that's already there. So then
you just take the low roll. It's now this is not advantage. This is disadvantage.
No, advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out. So how would you know which one to pick? Because you rolled 2.
You're making it more complicated than what it has to be. You've imposed disadvantage now. That's not advantage anymore. That is now purely disadvantage.
No, because
take the low roll.
Because you have both.
Beforehand, yes, they cancel. But this is saying afterwards.
Okay, sorry for the confusion there. But, so, the lucky feat disadvantage, they definitely need to reword this one, because a lot of confusion can come from it. We just got into an argument about it that we're going to edit out. And this says, when a creature rolls a d20 for an attack roll against you, you can spend a luck point to impose disadvantage on that roll. Which means before the roll, if they had advantage on you, you can impose a disadvantage. Now they're rolling regular. So I don't know if that's what was intended, but rules is written, that's what it is.
It needs to be clarified, because in some cases, it would be when somebody is doing something already, they would go, okay, you add the disadvantage and we do it before. Because advantage specifically says after. This is not specifying, so you have one thing that's specific and one thing that's generic, which would cause the person who read the thing first that's specific to look at it and go, think of it in the specific sense, not the generic sense of what it means, do it before. So they need to be specific on both the advantage part and the disadvantage part on the exact timing of when you would activate this ability. Otherwise, it's a great ability, because imposing disadvantage on getting hit can save your life.
Yeah, either making somebody roll normal or at actual disadvantage.
Yeah.